Morning. Morning, team. Morning, Christos. Fiona Reed, Julie Hilton, Barbara Anderson, Clodagh Egan, Vicky Edwards, Julie Everts. Welcome to Nicola McIntyre. Nicola McIntyre, welcome to the family guest area. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the family guest area. You may not know it, but it's Friday, which means it's hashtag fuck off fun Friday. Fun, hashtag fun, fuck off fun Friday. For those of you who come here regularly, you'll know that I don't think Nadia likes the word fun either. As soon as you're told it's going to be fun, it feels like you want to say fuck off. Well done, Amy May. You passed your theory test this week. Well done. Morning, Adele Kirby, Laura Small, Gabrielle, Jenny Ward, Dawn Claricoat, Jackie Valino, Barbara Anderson. Thank you very much, Deborah. Ishbel Ality, Julie Everts, Funky Kids, how's your earmark? I can hear clearly now. The rain has gone. Good morning from Vestmanager, Victoria Pettypiece. Where on earth is Vestmanager? Welcome. Morning, Della Nixon, April Hill, Hayley Edwards, Julie Neary. Obviously, towards the end of this live, we will be doing the quiz of the week. If we won't be touching on the Johnny Depp news, other than to say, do check out last night's live. If you want a kind of, I don't know, a sort of, rundown and roundup of what happened yesterday in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. Iceland, Victoria Pettypiece, send our regards to Iceland. Check out our review of The Northman. We talk about Iceland in that film. Iceland, the sagas. It's the sagas, isn't it? They're the old books that I was clutching for the word of the sagas. Gabrielle, I'm feeling that sense that the year is running away from me, can't seem to stay in the day. Yeah. What is it? 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the future, pissing on the present. It's hard. Tell me about it. It's hard. Hi, Raspberry Mojito Girl. Julie Hilton, I've missed you. Sarah Sutton, I think she's throwing herself under the bus. Hi, Gabrielle. Hi, morning, Fiona. Yeah, morning, Fiona. Morning, Nicola. Guys, hashtag Flashback Friday, hashtag Throwback Thursday, hashtag Week Ago Wednesday, hashtag Tell Me When It Was Tuesday, hashtag Maybe Not Monday, hashtag Silly Sod Sunday, hashtag Splatter Saturday, and then we're back to hashtag Friday. Loved Green Figured Hell. Yeah, I mean, Green Figured Hell is a couple of rambling idiots rambling around, rambling. So there you go. Green Figured Hell's landed this week. A vlog's landed this week. What else has landed? A How to Stay Married has landed this week. They're all there on the channel, there for you to peruse and have a look through it whenever you feel like it. Linda Tyler, hashtag Freaky Friday. Tracy Bradshaw, you watched Operation Mincemeat last night. I haven't been able to spare 2.25 hours. Sometimes I have to ration there. I have to really sort of decide which film it is that we're going to watch in the week, or which films that we're going to review. Thank you, Butterfly Belt. Very kind of you. Okay, well, let's do things slightly differently. I'm taking a leaf out of Amber Heard's lawyer. Okay, well, let's look at this another way. Okay, well, let's do this differently. Splatter Saturday, terrible, I know, yeah. In one of the vlogs coming up, Dina's going to tell you exactly why Splatter Saturday is an appropriate description. Only my sister-in-law. Love you too, Jacqueline Frost, hope you're well. Julie Hilton, hope you're well. So, what news today is at the top of your news agenda? We're always being told obviously I've pulled up a couple of stories today, but we are always told what the news agenda is. What's your news agenda today, guys? What's bugging you? What's worrying you? I didn't mean to be colour coordinated. It's weird, isn't it? Liv Bartram, happy birthday, 19. Wow, our Maddie's 19. That's a big birthday. Congratulations. Happy birthday to you. Joe Pardon off to Cornwall for the weekend. Birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Joe Pardon. If you're on the live, remind us on the live tomorrow, and hopefully we'll see it and we'll say happy birthday. Good ship lollipop down to my last loo roll. Need to get supplies. That's big news. That's big news. Conservative vote yesterday. Yes, so that is that. Can you still get a McTasty from McDonald's? That's a good question, Laura Nichols. Wow, Ashley, a man was murdered in my town this week, stabbed to death by a woman, but that same guy is an ex-officer and should have been in prison for life, stabbing his wife in the heart. Life for a life. Ruth Blandford off to Mexico tomorrow. Going to the gym for the first time in a month, Ellery Jones. Dixon Summit, not feeling great today. Have a cold now on top of ongoing lower back pain. Big hugs to you, Dixon. Sorry you're feeling down. Sarah Sutton, my news is needing to do the laundry. Laurel Nichols, no grumpies, please. Well, okay, so Faith, you home in on Boris Johnson. Boris, don't you think the Conservative Party are doing a really good job of stretching this out so far that we all lose the will to live? And that even the most frustrated kind of, and this isn't about being anti-Tory. I know some people say this is just an extended party's political broadcast for the Labour Party. It's not. It's not. It's just, more often than not, the government of the day is the people to be held to account. And so, morning, Stacey. And interestingly, here's the thing. So they've reversed on this idea that they were going to vote. They didn't want to look like they were dodging a bullet. So there was a bit of a rebellion in the Conservative Party, and now there has to be an investigation, because originally Boris Johnson was going to tell all of his party to say, don't vote for an investigation. There's enough investigations going on. We've got the Metropolitan Police, we've got Sue Gray, and they don't want another one. But on his way to India, there was a kind of feeling that perhaps it looked like, God forbid, this government was seeking to fudge the issue and block an investigation. So what did they do? They said, okay, we'll allow the investigation to go ahead. But a little known detail which keeps creeping through in the news today is the Metropolitan Police have put on hold any further issuing of fines, get this, until after the local elections, which will suit Boris down to the ground. Where's Sue Gray's report? The full report, where is it? Any timeline on that? Are any journalists actually asking, when will it land? No. Are any journalists saying, is there any likelihood that the Tory reversal on this vote, which will happen now, okay, so great, there's going to be another investigation, as someone just asked, by who? Who's doing this investigation? When will it land? All of this is delaying, and kicking it into the long grass. And you're absolutely right, Anne Henderson. We deserve to have the results of Partygate and all who attended before the May elections. And I thought it just slipped through as a tiny little headline in the Telegraph yesterday. Very right-wing paper that I read a lot. So this isn't just about left-wing echo chamberness. The Metropolitan Police are not going to issue any more information or news about further fines. We're not going to hear anything else about Boris until after the May elections. I mean, no wonder Boris was quite happy to say, let there be an investigation, because it's just... I'll tell you what's happening. We're going to get to the point where, at the moment that investigations and everything are going to happen, they're going to say they can't happen because we're going to be going to an election, and we'll be none the wiser. We'll be none the wiser. I mean, they are absolutely working on the premise that I'm bored of it. But it's not about Partygate anymore, and I think a lot of people are getting their knickers in a twist, going, oh, come on, there's more important things to kind of go on about. You know, Boris is fighting the war in Ukraine. No, he's not. The Ukrainians are. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's all parties, boring. No, it's not. It's about whether he officially lied in the House of Commons and whether he misled government. That's what it's about. That's why people care. It's about more than that. It's become about, it's like with your toddler. I don't mind what you did wrong. It's the fact that you lied about it that's really got to me. It's the fact, the long and the short of it is, it's the fact that we're all very, very disappointed. But I think it's an absolute outrage in this democracy that we're not allowed to get any information. Here we are heading into the May elections, and we're not allowed to know anything more. That'll suit. No wonder Boris said, yeah, absolutely, go for it, investigate. He's got about 18 investigations going on, and none of them are delivering any information. That's how I feel. What do you think, guys? It's about more than Partygate, right? Though it's not about more than Partygate to everyone who's lost someone. I mean, I think, again, if old Rees-Mogg, and this is what, lots of Conservative MPs are deeply, deeply embarrassed and troubled by this. A lot of good Conservative MPs have constituents who have lost, members of their family, loved ones, couldn't see them for those vital 6 hours, for whom this disregard of the parties is too much to stomach. I don't see what they don't get about that. It's, I don't... Faith Goodman, how are children supposed to learn about truth and lying? Entirely agree. We need to let them know we are not happy by voting them out in May, Susan Wilson. Natasha Tiramos, how can one trust someone who's repeatedly lied? It's disgusting. But the problem with the May elections already, and we've heard Rees-Mogg trotted out everywhere as well. I think the reason we hear so much from Rees-Mogg is that I choose to think that the reason we hear so much from Jacob Rees-Mogg is I choose to think that the rest of the cabinet and other ministers are a little bit head bowed in shame, a little bit shamefaced to keep coming out, sort of, do you know what I mean? Whereas Rees-Mogg just isn't. He doesn't give a toss. It's just like, yeah, come on, bring it at me. I reckon he sits there in a cabinet meeting and go, yeah, absolutely, let me deal with all those, don't worry. No, let me deal with Radio 4, let me deal with old Nick Ferrari. Oh, I've got another Ferrari. Oh no, let me deal with Andrew Marr. Send me off. And they all go on then, Jakes. And Jacob heads out of 10 Downing Street with his little umbrella. Hey, come on. Because if people do show their disgust in the May elections, Jacob Rees-Mogg is already doing the rounds saying things like this. Oh yes, but every single government doesn't do well in the May elections. It's not going to register. They don't care. They don't care. It's like someone made a really interesting point on the radio station. It was not a party political point at all. What seems to be absent from all of this is politicians caring about the principles involved. Once again, we're in a situation where the reason people won't vote against Boris or challenge him enough is because they're worried about preserving the Conservative Party, not preserving the sort of, the reputation of government. You know what I mean? But, look, like the next person, I'm bored fucking rigid with Partygate. Bored rigid. And I have to keep resisting the desire to go, oh, come on. No. Mustn't. That's what they want us to do. That's what they're doing. They're going, come on. The magical, mystical arts of distraction and procrastination. It's an Adderley cup that I'm having my coffee out of, yeah. So I'm saying this for and on behalf of those Conservative MPs, and of which there don't seem to be that many, but there are some, who are themselves concerned about the direction things are going in. So there you go. Hashtag Fun Friday. Hashtag fuck off fun, fuck off Freaky Friday. Hashtag fuck off fun, Freaky Friday. Okay, that's Boris Johnson. Thanks for that, Faith. Now, this is a curious one. Whenever Madeleine McCann's name is mentioned, really nasty people emerge, don't they? Have you noticed that? Isn't that weird? Isn't it weird that the story of a child being abducted is like a clarion call for horrible people to all rush around and go, meh. This is a family, obviously, whose daughter went missing. Lots and lots of people blame them for the fact that they left her on her own. Lots and lots of other people see them as directly responsible for her abduction. None of that is known for sure. They are a family that don't need any exterior judgment for their perhaps lapse of care within what they thought was a safe holiday resort. They will be punishing and have punished and will continue to punish themselves for the rest of their lives. Lots of people decry the fact that so much money has been spent on one particular case versus so many other cases that there have been. I think there is a compelling argument there, an absolutely compelling argument that all cases should be treated equally. That itself also, I don't believe, is the fault of Madeleine McCann's parents. So I find it curious that when, a family have gone through such tragedy, that there's a desire to want to kick them when they're down. So it looks like they may have a suspect. So a formal suspect has been declared by Portuguese authorities in the Madeleine McCann story. And this is the first time they've been declared as an official suspect in 15 years. And it's the Christian B guy who's currently in prison in Germany for rape. He's not been charged and he denies any involvement in Madeleine's disappearance. But I think there's a law in Portugal whereby I think if 15 years elapses between a crime and something happening, someone being a suspect, you can't process. So I think they're sort of homing in on this guy because I think he's the most likely fit. So yeah, he's been identified as a formal suspect. What's it called? A Guido? Is it a Guido? And it just reminds you again of the loss, not just their loss, but all families that are struggling with these things. Yeah, they had to keep the case open after 15 years, Nicola, and that's what I thought. Aguido, that's it. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so Madeleine McCann, I mean, what are your takes on the Madeleine McCann story? Where do you sit on this fence? I mean, I think surely it's hard not to feel compassion, no? But maybe it isn't, I don't know. Maybe it is, rather. Claire McNabb, the truth is we don't know what happened to Madeleine, no proof of anything beyond the fact that she's still missing. Yeah, I agree. Dawn Claricoats, they've suspected him for a while, but now have more evidence apparently, exactly. They will never find Madeleine, Russ. Hope you well, Russ. Such a horrific ordeal for all. Absolutely. Is this Christian Bruckner? Yeah, I believe it is Christian B. That's right. That's the formal suspect. So again, it's sort of weird, isn't it? I do feel like I've seen so many headlines where sort of, I know not necessarily formal suspects, but so many people have sort of been named and sort of, you know, identified and then nothing ever seems to happen. Nothing ever seems to happen. Someone just said there, Pink Lady, her parents were somewhat irresponsible, but they've paid the price and will punish themselves forever. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's not the kind of thing I'd have done, left a child sort of on there, you know, but for the grace of God go I, you know, it's kind of, they haven't found her body, Gabrielle. Francisca Bastos and Portuguese and I, although I empathise, I despise how they denigrated those people who tried their best there. They weren't equipped because it was supposed to be safe. Melanie Williams, it's so incredibly unlikely that they'll ever find her. Victims of such crimes are almost always killed shortly after the abduction. Apparently there's that window, isn't there, of time, short window of time straight afterwards. And I think it's like hours or minutes, isn't it, where you've got that time to try and find them or track down where they've gone. Someone somewhere, can't imagine the parents' anguish. They will never know what happened to her. I don't know how you live a life carrying that burden. Entirely agree. So that's a big story that's popping up all over the place today. Who's heard of 420 as a sort of day of commemoration? Who's heard of 420? Does anyone know what 420 means? I mean, I do, but I'm just wanting to know if you do. You have Good Ship Lollipop, Vicky Edwards, no? Sandra Beveridge, me. No, Helen Groves, Nicola Higgins, yes. Cannabis users, Mel W, well done. In USA, 20th of April. No, Stuart G, Sadie Jeffs, I have. Fiona Reid, no, never heard of it. Ashley Gardner, no. I everyone know, never heard of 420. 420 every day. Yes, Good Ship Lollipop. A broken clock tells the right time twice a day. I like that phrase. No, I haven't. Okay, so quite a few of you. Holly D, of course. National Marijuana Day, Christos Andrew. Hey, well done, mate. National, it was yesterday, obviously, and it is a day of national marijuana smoking and celebration. In Hyde Park in central London, crowds descended upon Hyde Park to smoke enormous reefers and get stoned, basically. And the Metropolitan Police turn a blind eye to it because it's so, morning, Mitri, but it's so spectacularly huge, it would be unenforceable to make arrests for possession and stuff like that. It's become a sort of glamorized event, really, where, you know, everyone who's anyone just kind of, you know, run around and kind of say, yay, you know, let's smoke cannabis, what have you. Edward Bevington, UK medicinal cannabis clinics are legal, learn the laws. No one said they weren't, sorry. You've come out of the traps thinking I'm slamming legal cannabis, All, you know, I mean, heroin, don't recommend injecting heroin into your eyeballs, but, you know, opiates, low-level opiates are in all painkillers. So, you know, obviously there are medicinal uses for all things which are massively important and in controlled manners. Controlled ways. I think that's great. Kensington Avenue, Philly is 4:20 every day. Is that Philadelphia? Yeah, is that right, Anne Murray? Yeah. So this is a day. Now the history of this, it goes back to, I think it's tied up with the Grateful Dead, the band. It's tied up with a bunch of kind of, in the 70s, a bunch of students called the Waldos who used to get high on a wall, and then they started to meet at 4:20 every day to kind of, to get stoned, and then it got hooked into the Grateful Dead community, and some started to say it was the time that Jerry Garcia, one of the lead singer, or one of the key members of the Grateful Dead died, and all this kind of stuff. And obviously it's celebrated and it's commemorated in terms of the belief that, you know, we should legalize drugs and all that kind of stuff. I believe, my take on cannabis, I just want to know what's your take on cannabis, really. My take on all these things is that unless it's controlled, you have no way of knowing what's in a drug. That's, you know, that's my thought around the legalization. People are going to take drugs, fact, you know. So by legalizing cannabis, you can monitor it, you can quality control it, you can perhaps reduce the ingredients that make it, you know, a potential cause of mass psychosis and stuff like that. You know, many people talk about the fact that if alcohol was struck upon now, it would be seen as a deeply damaging and potentially illegal Class A drug, given the speed with which it has an effect on you. It is quite something. So I'm not anti-legalizing drugs at all. And I think you could possibly, I believe the legalization of drugs across the board is an acknowledgement that you can't stop it. You just can't stop it. It's going to happen. So it's a case of, do you do it dangerously or do you do it as safely as possible? Bearing in mind, when I say as safely as possible, alcohol is a legal drug. Interestingly, the only drug that you have to apologize for not drinking or using often, that damages. You know, ask the NHS. The alcohol is the cause behind so much of the hard work that the NHS does. So, you know, it doesn't take a genius to just flip around the thought about alcohol of, okay, well, that's a legalized drug that could have easily been an illegal drug. So legalized drugs, I think, could be a way of managing the negative side effects. What I do worry about, though, with things like 420 is this glamorizing of non-controlled illegal versions of these drugs, because actually the drugs that are out there are so spectacularly strong that they are, you know, they are the cause of so many psychosis episodes. You know, so many mental health crises are because of the inordinate strength of drugs. So what I'm trying to say is the drugs that these hippies were smoking on a wall in the 1970s, the strength of that spliff will have been so much less potent than the strength of drugs knocking about now. You know, studies have shown, I mean, I can't get, you know, so many studies have shown that the extent to which they have such a strong impact on the brain now bears no relationship to what they were in the past. Medicinal from clinic, Edward Bevington, is clean, psychosis-free mostly. I'm absolutely sure that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying if you can monitor it, control it, and all the rest, I believe that you can keep it psychosis free. I mean, there's no guarantee, but Jordan Stevenson, they're also laced with all sorts when sold on the streets. You're absolutely right. This idea that there's a sort of, I think the danger is that people go, oh, it's such an innocent sort of thing. Well, it could be, but it isn't necessarily when you score it and you get it from dubious sources. Melanie Williams, weed doesn't cause psychosis in individuals who don't have a mental illness, but it can be a trigger for an episode of psychosis for someone with a psychotic disorder like schizophrenia. I had a very close friend at college who smoked spliff twice, demonstrated no, and this, I think, I hear what you're saying, Melanie Williams, but the problem with that is a little bit like with COVID when people said, well, unless you have underlying health conditions, you don't need to worry. But in the definition of an underlying health condition is underlying, so you might not know it. Equally, I think probably if you dig into most people's mental health, I hate to say it, I think the vast majority of people have some aspect of mental health issues. Obviously, some people are going to be more prone to it being aggravated than others, just like some people are more prone to becoming an alcoholic than others. So I agree, it's far more likely to cause a psychotic episode in someone with mental health issues already. But I do think that, in my instance, I can think of 3 people who essentially didn't demonstrate as having mental health crises or mental health issues, and 2 of them ended up in institutions, having to drop out of college and going through all sorts of terrible, still rumbling to this day issues as a consequence. And many people who have taken recreational drugs, for example, the ecstasy generation, which was very much my generation in the late 80s, lots of studies demonstrate that there is an increased prevalence of depression in the generation that took drugs that kind of drained and sucked and heightened serotonin and all that kind of stuff. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, different generations of different drugs can have a sort of systematic impact on people, even if you don't have obvious mental health issues. That's my thinking. I just think with all these things, control it. The danger with controlling it, of course, is, so say you have, oh yeah, go to the shop, we know that this drug is okay, or this is better than the stuff you get on the street. There's always going to be someone wanting a bigger and a better hit. And that's the danger of any form of drug, is that there's always going to be people wanting to take something that takes you higher, that gets you out of your head more, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm a huge believer in how, in all these drugs, most medicines come from some sort of natural place. It's like studies at the moment into the hallucinogenic aspects of magic mushrooms. They're looking at ways in which that can help with depression. So, Julie Neary, we all have mental health. It's when it becomes an illness or disorder that there's a problem. Absolutely. Anne Murray, it's like everything. You don't know until you've tried. You can become an alcoholic with your first drink. Yeah, it's interesting when alcoholics talk about, you can look back at if not necessarily the first time you drank, certainly your first time you got drunk. You look at the conditions in which that happened. There are some pretty obvious signs that you're going to struggle with alcohol. On that note, though, the idea that cannabis makes you become a very sort of sleepy, friendly, docile, soppy git who giggles in the corner and eats lots of Jaffa cakes. That's kind of what it was in the 70s. A huge fight broke out in Hyde Park yesterday. Woman battered by man in Hyde Park. That's not kind of what you think, is it, with kind of, chilled out spliff. Quite a couple of kind of fracas broke out in Hyde Park yesterday with people beating each other up. I think perhaps wanting to get a bigger stash, who knows. So that's 420, that was yesterday. And going back to this slight segue, so the idea of a black market, obviously the idea that you score drugs and it's all terrible. People are scoring a different kind of drug. Andrea Jenner, you're always chasing that first buzz. Oh, it's just terrible. Cannabis Jaffa cakes, me too, my God. Legalize them, monitor them, could be good. HRT betrayal. We mentioned this a week ago. I was surprised Nadia didn't really take it. I think the story, this is the idea that women, there's such a shortage of HRT that there's a black market for buying them. I mean, women are driving up motorways and meeting other women in service station car parks and exchanging patches and pills and I don't know how else you take it. But yeah, so there's a massive shortage due to, I mean, they do name Davina McCall and Marielle Frostrup, you could argue, and Nadia Sawalha off the telly too, that, you know, the promotion or the publicity around the fact that HRT can transform your life. This is kind of, you know, an eye-opener for me too. But there's such a profound shortage that tens of thousands of women around the nation, around the country, are really struggling, unable to sleep, unable to work. This will be feeding into their relationships with loved ones, with children, with their parents and everything. The unmanageability of hormone irregularities. But yeah, patches, pills, gels, people are, there's scoring on street corners and in car parks and Starbucks car parks. It's a massive, massive problem. Now, I know that when we mentioned it a week or so ago, a number of you said you were struggling to get hold of yours too. Ashley, I saw that you've bought your mini egg gin and cream egg gin. Can't wait to try it next week. Naughty boy. Edward Bevington, they need cannabis. Oh, Edward, that is quite funny. Just got Sheila Patterson Art, just got a smart meter fitted. It's my new TV. I know when we got one, I kept turning stuff on and off. Where can I score me some HRT? Not a phrase I thought anyone would say, MeTube. No, and we're in that curious situation. So the government needs to pull its finger out and they need to sort that out. So who's ready for the quiz of the week? Should we do the quiz of the week? For those of you who aren't regulars, you may wonder what the hell this is. This is a little kind of ease into the weekend, a little bit of, you know, trivia, general knowledge, see whether we've been plugged into the past week, see how much we haven't been plugged into the last week, discover news that we didn't know, all that kind of stuff. So this is, yeah, let's do a little quiz of the week. So let's go for it. CBD oil needed, Saab Turbo. You can get CBD jelly babies, can't you? Okay, so where is it? Oh yeah, quiz of the week, quiz of the week, quiz of the week, quiz of the week. First question, how's your ear? Hey? Hey? Okay, question 1. 2 former Doctor Who companions will appear in Jodie Whittaker's final adventure later this year. But who is not among them? Who is not among 2 former Doctor Who companions that will appear with Jodie Whittaker in her final adventure? So which of these is not appearing in it? Is it A, Ace, B, Leela, or C, Tegan? I haven't got a clue what this is banging on about at all. I'm not a Doctor Who. I'm not a Whovian. I used to be scared shitless by it when I was a kid. Oh, that's nice. Deborah Holdsworth, you say C. Sheila Patterson says A. Julie Hilton, C. Vicky Edwards, C, not an effing Scooby. No clue, A. Good Ship Lollipop. Okay, so it's a toss-up. Ashley says A. Are you on the cream egg gin, yeah? Brenda says Tegan. Liz Ritchie says Tegan. Oh, quite a few of you are saying Tegan. Okay, so a few of you are saying C. Dixon, Summit, and MeTube, you're right. It's B. Russ, you're already out. You're not going to get 7 out of 7. Anyone who said B, B is the right answer. You could have put the word cuckoo in there and I would have not been any the wiser. I didn't know what any of those words meant. Leela. If you were watching Coffee Moaning yesterday, you'll know the answer to this. Balls to you, Vicky Edwards. Well done, Joe Phipps. The Queen's 96th birthday was marked in various ways. It was yesterday, wasn't it? Including the publication of a portrait by the Royal Windsor Horse Show of that lovely photo of her with a couple of horses with flares on. But a version of which toy was made in her likeness? Was it A, a Barbie doll, B, a Lego figure, or C, a Playmobil figure? I used to love Playmobil. Do you remember that? The way they used to snap on to horses. I think there used to be a Playmobil fort. I used to love the knights. Again, all my friends had Playmobil, I didn't. Good Ship Lollipop, you weren't watching yesterday then, were you? A Lego figure. The vast majority of you are getting this right. You've been paying attention in class. I'm very impressed, and I'm going to give you all a gold star. Does anyone else remember getting a gold star? It was the height of excitement. Look at you all. Look at you all. Showing off. Showing off now, aren't you? It's a Barbie doll, correct, with a squishy head, so it makes the forehead bump out. There we go. Playmobil rocked Edward Bevington, didn't it? The US science community published its latest once-a-decade survey suggesting space agency NASA should prioritize a mission to which planet? So the US science community basically said, NASA, you need to go here. Is it A, Jupiter, B, Mars, or C, Uranus? Where does the US science community believe NASA should shove itself? Is it Jupiter, Mars, or Uranus? Ashley says C, Laura says C, Deborah says A, Jupiter, Sandra Beveridge says C, Carol Aviard says Mars, MeTube says Uranus, Jack, I just want to keep saying that. Ellery Jones says Mars, Haley Edwards says Mars. Lots of you says a toss up between Mars and Uranus. Russ says Uranus, Ruth too. Laura V writes Uranus. It's C, it's Uranus. So the US science community is saying that NASA really needs to go up Uranus. 3. I'm going to ask you how many you've got after the next one. Question 4. 2 Olympians helped intercept an oil tanker as part of a protest by climate change activists. By the way, it's Earth Day today as well. So 2 Olympians helped intercept an oil tanker as part of a climate change protest. One was the sailor, Laura Baldwin. The other was Etienne Stott, who was a gold medalist for Team GB in which sport? So which sport was Etienne Stott a gold medalist? Was it A, canoeing, B, marathon swimming, or C, surfing? I know this one. Etienne Stott was a canoeist, a marathon swimmer, or a surfer. Yeah, sports, me too. I'm not normally very good at them. Fiona, Laura, both saying canoeing. Ashley saying marathon swimming. It's only me saying canoeing, as is Cloda, Egan, Laura V, Margaret O'Brien, Helen Groves, Sheila Patterson Art. Lots of you saying A, Vicky Edwards, A, Brenda M saying surfing. Christos Andrio says A. MeTube A, guess. Angela Thompson says surfing. Let a few more of you come in. It's A, you're right, it's canoeing. Canoeing, you're absolutely right. So who's got 4 out of 7? Well, tell us what you've got out of 7. Come on, let's have a chuckle. I, for sure, for a fact, wouldn't have 4 because I wouldn't know the Doctor Who question. If you put me in a TARDIS and sent me out to space. Fiona's got 3, Vicky's got 2, Helen Groves 3, it's only me 4, well done. Laura V 4. Christine Bett's doing well with 1. Fiona Cromack and April Hill 3, Ross Ouch 3, Laurel Nichols and Sharon Smallwood both on 1, Angela Thompson 2, Jackie Vellino 3, Julie Everts 3, Liz Ritchie 1, well done. See you, Raspberry Mojito Girl. Okay, well, let's go on to question 5. South Korea's incoming president wants to scrap Korean age calculations to harmonise with the rest of the world. Currently, on what day do citizens age a year regardless of when they were born? Wow, I didn't realise this was the case in South Korea. Currently, on which day in South Korea do citizens age a year regardless of the day they were born? Is it on A, National Liberation Day, B, New Year's Day, or C, the first day of the school year? That means everyone's the same age in their year. Well, what does that make? Hang on a minute, I'm having a bit of an existential moment. So you have a birthday, but you don't get older until this day elapses. Hayley Edwards, Fiona Grockett, Good Ship Lollipop all says New Year's. Laura V says National Liberation Day. Christine Beck, Julie Neary says the first day of the school year. Laura Nichols, Julie Everts, Deborah Holdsworth saying B. Ashley Gardner, Jackie Roswell, Brenda M saying the first day of the school year. Shonsta Migmon says New Year's Day. Sheila Patterson, you've done me bamboozled. C, the first day of the school year. Anne Murray says New Year's Day. It is in fact New Year's Day. Isn't that weird? You only get a day older on New Year's Day. I wonder if birthday cakes get sold a lot just before New Year's Day. So it's literally everyone's like singing happy birthday. That's a great fact though, isn't it? I'm trying to get my head around it. I don't know why, I'm struggling. Question 6. Guitar duo Wet Leg topped the UK album chart with their eponymous debut, as records from independent labels occupied the top 3 slots for the first time in 11 years. Guitar duo Wet Leg topped the UK album chart with their eponymous debut. Who was number 2? So basically, the top 3 in the album charts were independent acts. Wet Leg. Oh God, what a name for a band, Wet Leg. Happy birthday, Katie Marie. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Katie Marie. Happy birthday to you. Wet Leg. Damp Patch. Let's think of other band names. Anyway, okay. So which of these was number 2 in the album charts? Was it A, Father John Misty, B, K Tempest, or C, Jack White? And breathe. Vicky Edwards, Wet Leg duet with Soggy Sock. Sheila Patterson Art says Father John Misty. Helen Grove says A. Fiona Reid and Julie Hilton are saying Jack White. Laura V says, and Nora Doyle both say Father John Misty. Fiona Cromack, Clodagh Egan, Brenda M saying Jack White. Ellery Jones says Jack White. Margaret O'Brien says K Tempest. Jackie Villino, Sarah Fox. A lot of B's coming in now. Okay, so the other act was at number 2, other independent act at number 2 was A. Me too. A. It was A. Wet Leg, Damp Patch, Soggy Sock, Moist Corner. Okay, so we're going into the final one. 4 out of 6. Has anyone got 6 out of 6 so far? And if you were watching Coffee Moaning this week, you will get the next answer. So if you're on 6 out of 6, you stand a good chance. Good Trip Lollipop, 0. Laurel Nichols, Moist. Deborah Holdsworth, no. Vicky, 2. Helen Groves, 4. Fiona Grockett, 5. And Laura V, 5. That's good. Russ, 4. That's a good recovery after your first fail. Bum bum, says Laura Nichols. Laurel Nichols. Did you drift off somewhere? I did, Linda. Christine Bett, no. Liz Ritchie, no way. Julie Everts, 5. Not bad. Nicola Higgins, 2. Could do better. Sheila Patterson, Art, 3. All right. Julie Hilton, 1. Come on. Jackie Villino, 3. Okay. Final question. No one's got 6. Oh, right. Okay. So the most... Emma Does Life, 0. Well, at least you shared that with us. Julienne, 0. Okay, well, you can both work together. Yeah, next time. So no one has got 6. It was that Doctor Who question got everyone, wasn't it? Right at the beginning. Demotivates, doesn't it? Okay, final question. Some of you are aiming for 6. With self-driving cars potentially hitting UK roads this year, there are plans to change the highway code to allow motorists to do what at the wheel? A, use mobile phones. B, watch television. Or C, work on laptops. Kid you not. A, use mobile phones. B, watch television. Or C, work on laptops. What will you be able to do potentially in a self-driving car when they hit? Ah, look at you all. See? Saving you from the jaws of humiliation. B. Most of you have got this right. Most of you. Oh, Laurel Nichols, you said use mobiles. No, sorry, Laurel. It is. Pick their noses, Nora Doyle. Absolutely. Pick their noses and stick it on the dashboard. Sorry. You're right. It's B. Watch television. So, guys, it's hashtag Film Friday. Lots of screenings and all sorts of things happening today. Lots of love, and I'm going to see you soon. Got to go, and weekly rushes will be landing later. Bye.